Hello everyone, Space Oyster here, and welcome back to Fire Emblem Three Houses, the Ashen Blue Lion Wolves. In the last part, we did a paralogue that I kind of forgot about already, and we also did the White Heron Cup and unlocked Dancer for Yuri, and in this part, we will be doing another paralogue. This time I believe it'll be called the Sword and Shield of Seiros. Ooh, anyway, look at that Dancer! Yeah. So, once you have a Dancer unlocked for whichever
Clever to invest in me.
Whichever character you entered into the White Heron Cup, you can just go into inventory, then classes, and then you switch them over to it. They don't have to take an exam, so you don't need to worry about them passing or potentially failing it. Once you win the White Heron Cup, you become a Dancer. It's very, very I guess, what's the right word? Easy? Is easy the right word? I'm gonna say it is.
And that is our situation.
But with so few knights, we'll surely... Ah, Professor! Excellent timing.
What's going on?
Alois, you're not going to suggest we send students, are you?
I am, actually. Do you have a problem with that?
I do. We can't send them out on a knight's mission without Rhea's blessing.
I'm sure I can get the go-ahead. I'll just say the students have a new field training opportunity or something like that. Besides, we'll be there. We're not going to let them get killed by pirates.
What's this about pirates? What are you talking about?
There are pirates causing havoc in the port of Deirdre, at the center of House Regan's territory.
The Merchants Association sent a request via the Eastern Church asking for protection.
The Eastern Church?
You haven't heard of the Eastern Church? I suppose it's because they don't have much of a presence.
The Eastern Church controls Eastern Fodlan. They don't have a standing army like we do. So, for incidents like this, they customarily ask for help from the Central Church.
I imagine they want to contribute to make their presence known in the Alliance.
Be that as it may, we knights are quite busy. We don't have personnel to spare. Therefore, we're enlisting your help.
You should have some experience dealing with pirates from your mercenary days, right?
I don't remember that well, but I may.
The students have dealt with pirates, so this shouldn't be a problem for them.
Come with us, won't you? Think of it as a training exercise. The Merchants Association will reward us handsomely.
Yeah, sure, let's go.
We don't have time to lose. Let's take care of this quickly.
So, yeah, for this paralogue, you have to have either Shamir and or Alois in your party. Or recruited, I should say. It is doable with just one or the other, but if you have both, you get a better reward. You get a battalion based on which ones you have with you. Personally, the battalions aren't really all that useful, so don't worry about putting this off until you recruit Alois if you'd rather do it sooner. It is good for EXP, but almost all paralogues are. And like almost all paralogues, it is very important that you bring a good flyer along, because flying is amazing. And best waifu. I think that's the right way to put it. But anyway, yeah, so since you can recruit Shamir a lot earlier than you can recruit Alois, it's most likely that you'll be doing this paralogue the way I'm doing it now, with Shamir as a recruited unit and Alois as a guest star party member for the moment. Alright. And I gotta clean up their inventories. Oof. You know, since inventory management is going to take a little bit and I can't think of anything else to talk about, I will skip ahead. So see you guys in a bit.
Tremble before us! We are the great navy of Almyra. Resist and we'll burn this town to the ground!
The Almyra Navy. This is going to be tougher than I expected.
They're obviously bluffing, but it seems to be working on the merchants. Shall we?
It's the knights! Please, save us! We'll reward you handsomely! It would be a disaster if they attacked our shops. Please, don't let them into town.
We've got you. Leave it to the Knights of Seiros.
Oh, alright, there we go. So, yeah, for this chapter, it's got a rather interesting difference, or a very interesting take on the defend chapter objective, in that you have, if an enemy gets past your lines, you have five turns to take them out. I don't know if that 5 turns resets if you kill an enemy and then another one enters later, or almost immediately after. But
just doing my duty.
But just make sure you kill anyone that could get in as quickly as possible, and you should be fine. It shouldn't be too hard to get all of them taken down, but better safe than sorry, I say. Hope I didn't forget to give the caduceus to anyone. Alright. Because oh, right, I keep forgetting to go over those. What we got from Seteth and Flame's paralogue, the caduceus staff and the spear of Assail, or Assaul, or however that's pronounced. What they both do is that the caduceus is a staff that is equipable like the magic staff Happy's got. That when it's in the inventory of a mage, it will boost their magic range by 1. Let's see. We need to dance for Happy anyway, so since I accidentally put her in range, let's dance for her. Yeah, and because of that, Yuri is no longer in combat. I pretty much won't be using him to fight anything, but just in case he gets attacked, I'll give him a 11th sword. So yeah, so the caduceus staff is pretty pretty interesting to have around, because anyone can use it and there's no drawbacks to it. Unlike the Thyrsus staff you can get for completing Lorenz's paralogue. With the Thyrsus staff, you if you don't have a crest, you take 5 damage, or 10 damage at the end of each round of combat. And that is something else. Excuse me, but that is something else new I learned. That what's that going on? Oh right, that when you take damage after combat, when you're using an item that's tied to a relic or a crest, and you don't have that crest, as it turns out, that is you don't need to have the specific crest tied to whatever that relic is. You just need to have a crest to prevent taking damage. If you have the associated crest, you usually get some additional perks. So in the case of the Fetters of Domri, when Yuri has them equipped, he gets Pavise and Aegis added to his skill list. Not visibly, but they're there, so they can make it easier for him to reduce the damage he takes, and since he can be a good frontline fighter thanks to his high speed, that can be quite handy to have on him. But that said, anyone with a crest who has the fetters, they won't take damage after combat. Let's see here. So, I'll need Ingrid to take out that Wyvern Rider over there. Yeah, the enemy's biggest strategy is to use these Wyvern Riders on the map to fly out there and complete their objective of staying in the city for 5 turns. So having a flying unit who can go around and just take them out is very, very handy. If you give whoever you have as a flying unit a bow, or if they can use magic, now that Dark Flyer's in the game, then they should be fine to take them all out. But, no, don't use the combat art. Dance. I should probably take that combat art off him. He's almost never going to need it now that he can dance. Anyway.
You saved me.
What was I going on about? I don't know. But yeah, pretty much anyone with a relic
Could have been worse.
Anyone with a relic can safely use a relic weapon. So that is very, very, very good to know. I did not know that before. Let's see. And then speaking of other things I didn't know before, I asked for some advice on maddening mode, because I've been getting increasingly tempted to do maddening mode, and after getting all that advice and seeing some comparisons and arguments made about flying units versus non-flying units and, you know, battalion-related stuffs, I was even more tempted. So I got into a maddening mode and I started a Golden Deer playthrough of it. Maddening ended up being a lot more difficult than I ever expected it could be. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but
someday forgive me.
But Fire Emblem on higher difficulties ends up being more like a puzzle game rather than strategy game, because you try and use what your available pieces to find a solution. And on the higher difficulty, you get your options are far more limited. And so it's going to be interesting trying to work within the limitations of the higher difficulty. That said, I also have the DLC, so I get some free stat boosters that I can give to whoever I want.
That is that.
Although I keep forgetting to do that. I kept forgetting to give stat boosters on this playthrough too, so that's a thing. Anyway, I'm gonna hold have Dimitri and Alois hold there, so that way they can hold the bridge. Oh, right, and then when they were going over the new spawns, or the new enemies that came in as reinforcements, they showed a Wyvern Rider showing up. That Wyvern Rider will make his way directly to the city and then just sit around in there. So as long as you've got, so if you keep Shamir in the city itself, then you shouldn't need to worry about them for too long. She should be able to one-round them at base, assuming you do this in the same, you do this chapter or paralog in the same chapter that you recruit her. I don't know if the enemies are actually get tougher or not, based on if you do this later or not. I want to assume they do get tougher if you put this paralog off for a bit, but I haven't really tested that. If the in-game indications are anything to go by, then this chapter doesn't get any more or less difficult depending on when you do it. The recommended level was the same no matter when I decided to do it. So, so I think it's likely that this chapter, as you're seeing it, is the same way it's going to be no matter when you do it. A bit disappointing, if I'm being perfectly honest, but it should make it easier to talk about in terms of Shamir, because if she's able to take the enemies out at her base, then whenever you do this, she'll be able to take them out at her base. Now that gambit was so glitchy on the screen, I might have to cut it out. I hope I didn't have to cut it out. It's funny. It's especially funny when gambits like gambits where they launch a bomb at the enemies, which is usually just on a cart that's slowly pushed and then explodes. It's funny when those gambits miss, because rather than the person being attacked dodging, the barrel just doesn't explode. That's never not funny. Alright, let's go ahead and let Shamir take this guy down.
Another one down.
Yay, good job, Shamir. Alright, and then...
No hard feelings.
And then, let's see. Why not? I don't know what happens if you take this guy down, but I think it'll be fun.
You never had a chance.
Alright. And let's rally Mercedes. Alois, his personal skill is essentially rally luck, and so it's not always terrible to use him to rally. He also learns rally skill, or not rally skill. He'll learn rally strength as well. I think his default, I think his authority by default is high enough that he has rally strength. So you can essentially have him function as a rally bot at the moment you recruit him.
Had to be done.
I forget when he becomes available. I didn't recruit him for this playthrough, so it might not be apparent. But regardless, he's probably another one of those units that you're going to be able to recruit no matter, or you're going to recruit no matter what, since, you know, his requirements are very minimal, and by the time you can recruit him, you're going to meet those requirements. And Flyers just trivialize this map because both Constance and Annette can reach the boss. So if one of these lovely ladies can't take him out, the other one can. Yeah, Annette gets it. Or Constance can do it. Constance can definitely do it. She one-shots him with perfect accuracy. I'm probably going to miss being so overpowered.
What's done is done.
But you can make it. You can make your units overpowered on higher difficulties. It's not as complicated as you would think. And I was also realizing that Balthus isn't as bad as I assumed he was. I don't know how I got it in my head that Balthus was one of the worst of the Ashen Wolves. As it turns out, he's pretty really good, because his personal skill is like Resolve from other games. I think I already went over that. And is Resolve from personals from other games. So when he's on low HP, he gets a boost to his strength and speed, and that allows him to reliably double on Maddening in the early parts of the game. So very, very handy.
Really?
This is going to take me a while to get used to. Normally my dancers don't have a movement skill like drawback equipped. Okay, I think I forgot to give Caduceus to somebody. It'd be pretty handy on Annette since none of her spells have 3 range, but it'd also be pretty neat on Constance as well since she will learn bolting, and more range on bolting never hurt anybody.
To brag of this would invite mockery.
Speaking of bolting, she just learned it! Yay!
Well, that's over with. They were a lot more trouble than I expected.
Thank you so much. Here's your reward. Please take it.
Yay! So we get a large Boolean and a Seraph robe for defending the town. And then I do believe we also get a battalion. Completed the battalion. So since I only had Shamir, we got the Seiros archers. I believe you get Seiros fighters if you have Alois with you as well. Or you only get them if you only have Alois.
Good gracious, I didn't expect it to become such a large-scale battle.
It seems they caused the merchants unnecessary confusion by disguising themselves as Almirans.
We taught the pirates a lesson, though. That should calm them down a bit. I know this was more than you signed up for, but you really saved us.
It was an interesting experience. Good for training.
Thanks for your help. This can't be how you were expecting your day to go.
Patient and understanding, just like Captain Gerald. We owe you a token of our appreciation, I think. Take the reward from the Merchants Association. Share it with your students if you like.
Really?
Take it. We'll collect our reward from the Eastern Church. Besides, Alois could never keep it for himself.
Of course not. We knights serve as the sword and shield of Saint Seiros herself. We pride ourselves on our integrity. We reject all rewards that are not perfectly legitimate.
In other words, he's a coward who would feel guilty and lose sleep over it. That's also one of his many merits.
Shamir, you don't mince words. Though it does seem like you've learned how to show a little respect.
Must have learned that from you.
I don't remember teaching you that. Anyway, Professor, keep the compensation. I'd say you've earned it. Those merchants really needed your help. For all the buying and selling they do, they're not so good at trading blows. ...
Shamir, you forgot your line.
Trading blows? And merchants, oh, forget it.
We have to prepare for our next mission. Until next time, Professor.
Alright, and I'll call that here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.